Today is January 4th, 2021. Lots of news happened. It is week 17 has been completed. It's playoff time. My name is Jeff with my co-host
Dallas.
And we are back again for episode 8. This one will preferably be more on time, not on a Sunday uploaded, but hopefully on a Monday night after we finish recording this one.
Well, I mean, even the NFL had to push some games back because of COVID. I mean, it happens. We had to play it safe.
It's true. Let's go first to our news update this week. We're going to talk a little bit about the NBA real quick. Steph Curry dropped 62 points, his career high, in a basketball game. He was injured, I believe, all last season, and he just came back and dropped 62 points.
Damn.
Yeah. Steph came back roaring. James Harden is fat.
Hate that for you.
Yeah, it's not cool. He's just every time he's not playing, he's going to Las Vegas, getting drunk and meeting hookers. And then John Wall, who is our new point guard for the Rockets, he's playing lights out. He's been gone for 2 years, and his first 2 games back, he combined for 50 points, I believe.
Nice.
So it's good to see John Wall back. Seems like a much better fit than Russell Westbrook, who we had last year as our point guard.
Probably less money too.
Yeah, way less money, which I like. Because we traded him for John Wall.
Oh,
and
nice.
we got a pick out of it.
Nice.
So I'm like,
and less contract.
yeah, and he's better. And then other players we're going to keep our eye on, obviously the Zion Williamsons, the LeBron Jameses, the Klay Thompsons, the Giannis Antetokounmpos, the Kawhi Leonards. We're going to get more and more into the NBA. We're going to teach each other NBA stuff, learn a little bit more, do some education for each other. And hopefully soon we'll be able to speak on it like we can football. I don't think we'll ever have the same amount of passion for it, but it'd be nice if we could, maybe focus a little bit on football, but then sprinkle in some NBA stories.
We need to sprinkle some NBA in there, maybe some other sports, but who knows? Maybe passion grows the more we talk about it.
Absolutely. And I think the next bit of news, going back to the football world, let's go to the college football playoffs.
Yeah.
Ohio State upset Clemson, and Justin Fields threw 6 touchdowns in that game.
I don't think anyone, I don't know of any individual, any network that said, oh, Clemson's going to lose this game.
Yeah. And honestly, it raises Justin Fields' draft stock now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
If he beats Alabama, he might be the first overall pick now.
A top 3, I mean, who's pick 2, who's pick 3? I think
pick 1 will be Jaguars, pick 2 will be Jets.
Oh, wow, yeah, Jets might take Fields. I mean, I don't see Trevor losing that one spot.
Well, you also got to look at it like Tua was the number 1 all last year.
That's true.
And then Joe Burrow played lights out in the playoffs.
And that's worked out great. Joe Burrow looked amazing.
Yeah, so honestly, they might take it and be like, well, Justin Fields, might not be the most polished, but, same thing with Justin Herbert, who was not the most polished, and the Chargers rightfully took him over Tua.
Yeah, that's worked out amazing for the Chargers, too. I mean, amazing quarterbacks, Tua, who knows?
Yeah. In Ohio State, a lot of people said that they shouldn't be in the playoffs, but they only played 6 games this year due to COVID. And then after that, they made it to the playoffs and upset the Clemson, who is an absolute powerhouse.
That's the kind of thing I love to see in the football world. I want to go back and sort of watch how the nation reacted to this game as it was unfolding, whether it be college players, networks.
Yeah.
And I hope that we see something like that in the NFL with some of these teams under 500 making it to the playoffs.
Yeah. I'm super interested to see how all of these players' draft stock changes now, because there's Patrick Surtain for Alabama, and let me go back to the playoffs real quick. Alabama crushed the poser team Notre Dame. Unfortunately, I know a lot of people who are Notre Dame fans. I love the Fighting Irish, but Notre Dame did not belong in that game. Unfortunately, they got crushed by Alabama once, and it happened again. So it wasn't a good day to be a Notre Dame fan. Sorry, but they were a little bit of posers going against Nick Saban. But I'm super intrigued to see this Ohio State versus Alabama. I think it's going to be a great game.
Yeah, Alabama can't go in and say this is another poser team. They didn't play a lot of football before the playoffs. They probably fresh legs and talent's obviously there to take out Clemson.
Yeah, and I'm just super excited to see what happens. This could change the whole shape of the draft this year.
Yeah, I mean it does almost every year.
Absolutely, same like we said with Joe Burrow last year. Last bit of news before we jump into Fast 5 review is going to be the head coach shiftings this year. Already, we saw Dan Quinn, Bill O'Brien, Matt Patricia. They have all left. They have been sacrificed to the football gods and probably getting drunk in Maui right now. But the new head coaches who are fired are Adam Gase, Doug Marrone, and surprising to some, I saw it coming, Anthony Lynn.
Yeah, you called that one. I thought he was safe with a young quarterback and success for a few years behind him.
I think that people are overvaluing his coaching.
Yeah.
Everyone was like, oh, well, Justin Herbert was only good because he came to the NFL and got good coaching. And where it's like, you can give Lynn some props, but Lynn didn't win games. And at the end of the day, that's a coach's job, And also, I think it was less of Lynn being a good coach and more of Oregon, which is where Justin Herbert came from, having bad coaches. Bad quarterback coaches, anyway.
Yeah, the parallel here that makes me nervous is Oregon quarterback, rookie year, new head coach, probably a new system, and with what happened to Mariota, who, at a college standpoint, had every reason to succeed, and to watch him just slowly degrade into a backup quarterback now. I just don't want to see that happen to such a bright young guy like Herbert. I mean, he got so close to breaking records that I didn't think would be broken this year, and broke ones that I didn't think on top of it.
Yeah, he was 39 yards away from breaking the passing yard record for a quarterback, and he beat the passing touchdown record that was previously Baker Mayfield's.
He only played 14, 15 games. I know he didn't play week one. There was the Tyrod Taylor incident that gave him the opportunity to see the field, and he just didn't let go.
Yeah.
Imagine if he played the whole year.
Yeah, he would have possibly entered and left the MVP conversation at some time,
Yeah, Lynn might still have a job.
It's true. I know the Chargers won 4 games back-to-back at the end of the season, but they also beat the Chiefs sitting everyone, so it's not really interesting. But I think the best way for the Chargers to get the Chiefs back now is to hire Eric Bieniemy.
Please do. Anyone but the Jaguars, please do.
Yeah. Well, I just think it's such a home run because not only do you get a good offensive mind, but you also steal a coach away from a team that's in your division.
Yeah. Between the steal and creating that hectic environment for an opposing team in your division, it's worked out for Arizona. I mean, they didn't make the playoffs, but I think they had a hell of a turnaround introducing good old DeAndre Hopkins and that offense to Arizona.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. I think that's it for our head coaches update. You had one other piece of news that you wanted to share with us real quick.
Yeah, actually something I found out as we were sitting down to start. Josh Jacobs, shortly after his win, was found in a single car accident and seems to be intoxicated. There's no charges yet. There's no sort of blood test. So they being Josh and his lawyers are trying to say a non-guilty verdict. But we will see what happens. Melvin Gordon had a similar incident. Running backs seem to like to drive drunk.
Yeah. I think Darren McFadden got in trouble recently. Didn't he get in trouble last year? He was stopped at
Was he a Raider? Was that?
He was a Raider and a Cowboy and a bunch of teams.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that was him.
Yeah, wasn't it? I think it was. It's weird. Running backs like to do that for whatever reason. Just drive drunk.
No.
But yeah, that's a weird common thread through running backs.
Yeah, and I mean Josh Jacobs is 22 years old, or a Pro Bowl at least underneath his belt, and kind of the only star besides Darren Waller on that offense, and it sucks that this will hurt him at least a small amount in the offseason.
Yeah, and then even Ezekiel Elliott on his stream this year, low key faded.
Yep, low key faded.
O.J. Simpson killing people.
Yeah, running backs.
I mean, it's not related, but
he did.
There might have been some drugs.
Can I say he did it?
Yeah, he did it.
Can we? I mean,
everyone. Have you ever seen O.J. Simpson's replies and his mentions?
No.
It's just pictures of the people that he's alleged that he killed, that most people believe he killed. If you've seen a documentary, you know that OJ probably did it.
Yeah. If he didn't do it, this is how he would.
Yeah, because he wrote a book on how he would do it. Post lawsuit threats, let's go to our Fast Five review. Let's start with the Cowboys at the Giants. Final score was 19-23. I predicted the Cowboys to win 41-20. Very wrong. Dallas predicted the Cowboys to win 27-13. Less wrong. But we were both off on this game. And Andy Dalton looked out of whack this game. He only had he was 29 for 47, 243 yards, and an interception. He did injure his hand during the game. Leonard Williams, I think, landed on his hand, stepped on it with a cleat. Nearly ripped off his wedding ring. I watched it happen.
God.
His hand was bleeding through the glove the whole game. But it wasn't ideal, but at the same time, it's playoff chances or not, and you got to show up in that moment.
Yeah, I don't know what curse or problem Andy Dalton seems to have, but the second the calendar switches over and it turns into January, he just can't play football.
Yeah.
If it's in the playoffs, if it's week 17, I've just never seen him produce at this stage.
And I think he deserves a starting job somewhere. He's played good enough to at least be an interim kind of Alex Smith type to bring on the next generation. I think he would fit really well at the 49ers, actually. There
are so many games just this week that prove what you're saying is right. I mean, we had quarterbacks like Strevler come in for the Cardinals. Wolford came in for the Rams.
Sudfield for the Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, they had two different quarterbacks. There were so many different quarterbacks that shouldn't have been on the field.
Yeah, a bunch of Kroger grocery baggers.
Yeah, and I don't even think could get stuff in the plastic bags.
No, they could not throw a football in a plastic bag, that's for sure. But I think the other big mention in this game is that the receiving yard leader for this game was Dalton Schultz, 7 for 70 yards.
Wow.
Yeah. That's impressive because he's a backup. He's kind of really proved himself after Blake Jarwin got hurt in week 1.
Yeah, I mean, I just wouldn't have thought that with just the oozing tower of talent you have at a receiving core, whether it's tight end, wide receiver. Not Zeke. Zeke don't catch anything anymore.
No, Zeke catches burritos that the taco truck throws him. That's about it. The other mentions I want to give is Jalen Smith is a great story, but he's limited. He's a limited off-ball linebacker. He's not good in coverage. He's got the eye candy effect. I'm stealing this from Jeff Kavanaugh, who's a Cowboys YouTuber I watch.
Yeah.
And he's got this eye candy effect where he sees say they fake a handoff to the running back and then do a end around wide receiver outrun.
Yeah.
He always follows the running back. It's just I see that guy. He probably has the ball. I'm gonna tackle him.
Yeah.
And he's always wrong. And it sucks to see because he's such a good story. He hurt his knee. Cowboys still took a chance on him in the second round. He was supposed to be a top 10 pick. Yeah. He was a beast. And he was a beast in 2018, but he's just not shown up since.
Yeah, I know he's still in his mid-20s. What point do you give up on him, and what do you replace him with? I mean, do you go towards free agency? Do you draft again?
Cowboys have the 10th overall pick, so, I mean, honestly, if Leighton Vander Esch is back for a full season next year, I might just see what he can do keeping him, but I think we should definitely draft another linebacker this year, whether that's the first or second round. I think it's definitely going to be worthwhile to get another linebacker in that room.
Yeah, and I mean, you have a lot of older players that you tried to fill the line with early in the offseason last year with Gerald McCoy, others. I forget the San Francisco, Aldon Smith. Y'all signed Aldon Smith. So there was a lot of need for pass rushers, for big guys in the middle. I think even if you pick up a linebacker, slap them in at a left in, right in kind of role for the first few weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. I could definitely see that happening. But, I just think there needs to be someone else who's a covering linebacker because Sean Lee's about to leave probably as well.
Yeah, he's old.
Yeah, he's...
Bless him.
I don't even know if he's that old. I think he might be like 28. He's just like beat the hell.
Yeah.
He might
His
be 30.
body's old.
He might be 30, to be fair to Sean Lee. I think Trevon Diggs, he was really good this game. He was one of the things that popped off my screen. And Donovan Wilson did too. He's a safety. Probably not many people know who he is. But he plays hard, and he's got a little bit of talent. He had a sack and an interception in this game.
Do you still have Jeff Heath? Is he still
He's a Raider.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I was about to say...
The year we lost him, he balled out, which is really cool.
That sucks. Yeah, Jeff Heath is quite the talent, unfortunately, with the Raiders now.
Yeah, he was always like a little quiet guy, but he would hit these like huge plays out of nowhere. The thing is every time I saw Jeff Heath, he was horizontal.
Yeah.
He was flying through the air trying to like swat a pass, tackle someone. He'd miss occasionally. To be fair to Jeff Heath, he's not an elite talent, but he was always in the play.
Yeah, and if you have the right free safety with him to sort of act as a blanket behind him, I like him for your team. And it frustrates me to see what's happening with your secondary, specifically actually strong safety position, just because of all the talent there was at free agency. You just refused to sign. And week 17, you have a chance to make the playoffs with the record you have. I don't understand a lot that's going on behind doors for the Cowboys.
Yeah, it's year one of a rebuild, so I'm going to give them some time. It's not a full rebuild, to be fair, as well. So I'll give them some time. They definitely do deserve to be reprimanded this year for everything that's happened. Talent was not... all of our free agents this year that we observed were not observed well. Most of our talent was not... excuse me, my computer is very loud. It's on 100% volume. But now it is off. But what do you call it? I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, the talent observation this year was just not really on par, unfortunately. But I want to go to the Giants now.
Yeah, they're not out of this without some reprimand too.
They, just wanted to say that Jason Garrett kept us out of the playoffs again.
He did. What an asshole.
You know what? And he was still an awful coach. He was 0 for 7 on third down. So he can keep us out of the playoffs, but he's still going to be shitty.
He's going to do his job poorly while he does it.
You know what? That's just... I'm glad he stayed true to character.
Yeah, Jason Garrett gonna Jason Garrett.
Yeah. Daniel Jones, he was okay this game. He had 17 for 25, 229 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. The interception wasn't good. It was off of Evan Ingram's hands. Evan Ingram has a huge pass-dropping problem.
Yeah. This is his sophomore year, isn't it?
I believe it's either I think it's sophomore.
Sophomore year for Daniel?
I believe last year was his year when everyone kind of doubted him. People started calling him Danny Dimes for some reason.
Yeah, you're right. So,
and this year is the year that he fell down on his face running from the Eagles.
Well, most people talk about a sophomore slump, and if there was a slump for Jones, I mean, with a good draft pick, they could really turn around fast. I don't know if Daniel Jones is the problem.
Yeah, I don't know either. I think he deserves to play out the rest of his contract as long as he doesn't fall off a cliff. But, they definitely need to put some talent around him for him to be effective. One other thing I want to mention real quick, one other highlight, is that the Giants defense played really well. They had 6 sacks and an interception, so...
Yeah.
A good coach defense. I forget the name of their defensive coordinator, but he's does a good job, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Much better job than their offensive.
Suffocated and smothered Andy Dalton.
Yeah, and almost ripped off his wedding ring with a pair of cleats. Next game this last week that we talked about, final score of the Washington at Eagles game was 20-14. Washington taking it home to go to the playoffs. I had Washington losing 13-20. Dallas had Washington winning 17-9. You were really close.
It was close. I mean, just the Eagles are imploding.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this was an awful game to watch.
I mean, it's kind of tiptoed around, walking on eggshells. What was Doug doing?
I think the Eagles openly tanked. They put in the grocery bagger Sudfield, who could probably not even hit your eggs in the bottom of the bag. And I don't know. It was awful to see. It was just terrible football.
Yeah, I mean, I just felt dirty watching it. At a certain point, I think 2 minutes left, 1:40 left, I just had to stop. I started watching highlights to other games. I mean,
It was bad.
it was bad, and I don't know how Doug Peterson can say he was trying to genuinely competitively win that game.
Yeah, it was unfortunate. And on the other side of the ball, Alex Smith was not good either.
Shaky. I mean, I hate it because I love Alex Smith. I love the comeback story. But
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. I can't pretend he was good.
He was playing through a calf injury, so that's one thing. But at the same time, he was 22 for 32, 162 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. So not a great day. You know, kind of a even Steven day.
Hopefully, it can just become overshadowed by a successful playoff run.
Yeah.
If they win one game, I mean, that's huge.
Yeah, I think even the football team making it to the playoffs is just such a huge story. Ron Rivera, I'm so happy for him. Alex Smith, and the organization as a whole. You know, all the new rookies who had to come.
yeah.
Can you imagine being a rookie going to the Washington football team this year?
No, imagine being a rookie on the Washington football team week 8, week 9. Trade deadline's gone. You're year 1 in your contract, and Ron Rivera has cancer. Y'all are losing every game.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. No Alex Smith, no nothing. You're just floating.
You're just a bad football team without a name.
You're floating in an ocean of yeah. It's awful. It was awful to see. I think Logan Thomas deserves a highlight too. Did you know he was a former quarterback?
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
Logan Thomas, tight end for the football team, was a former quarterback, and he's 6'6".
Yeah, that's such a strange physique for a quarterback.
Yeah, and he's turned around into like a great player. He was 3 for 37 yards and a touchdown. The touchdown was incredible. I don't think the safety could have been in better coverage. He just went up for it.
Damn.
Yeah, just absolutely stretched out that big 6'6" body to get that touchdown.
I'll have to rewatch it. I know I got home and was only able to catch the second half of the third, fourth quarter, and at that point it just sort of was going into that toilet bowl nonsense. Mm-hmm. So I didn't get to watch a lot of this one.
Yeah, which is fair because you had to work, so
That happens.
It happens. Life happens. But speaking of life happening, how about life happening to the Jaguars playing at the Colts, 14-28? They did not show up. I predicted the Colts to win 40-17. Dallas predicted the Colts to win 34-6. They kept it closer than we thought, but still a blowout in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to give the Colts flack, but how do you let the Jaguars score 14 points? Just gonna ask a friend.
I mean, I'm gonna look at it like this way. It's a divisional game. I think Doug Marrone might have been like, hey, this is my job. And then now we're like, oh yeah, let's squeeze out 14 points for you,
Yeah,
coach.
We'll try, coach.
We got you, coach.
They beat them week 1. That's the craziest thing. I went back and watched the highlights of week 1, and they suffocated the Colts. They looked like the better team.
Yeah, which was super interesting because the Colts turned it around for sure.
Yeah, and Jaguars did the exact opposite.
Yeah, the Jags got the first overall pick.
Congrats,
Yep.
fuckers.
Trevor Lawrence, here he comes. I think it might be Lawrence. Oh man, you guys are gonna have to go against Lawrence and Watson.
Yeah.
Imagine being the Colts. You have to go against Tannehill and Henry, and then you have Watson and Lawrence to worry about now.
Yeah, suddenly that makes me feel a lot better. And that Colts running back, shout out to him for, what was it? Jefferson, is that his name? Jacobson?
It's Jonathan Taylor.
Thank you, Jonathan Taylor. I was not even close, but what a career day for him.
Yeah, it wasn't close. I was going to give you props, but
No.
I don't know if I can.
No free props. No free pops.
But yeah, he had 253 yards and 2 touchdowns on the day.
Yeah! Way to take the highlight from Derrick Henry, man.
I mean, he had 3 more yards than Derrick Henry on the day, so whatever. I think it's all right. But Old Man Rivers was trash.
He didn't look good, and this is right after, last week, meaning a couple days ago, because of things. I was very high on Phillip Rivers getting a multi-year contract agreement.
Yeah, I think he could be back. I think he has a 2-year agreement right now. He could be back next year.
I think he's on a 1 year.
Is he?
I think he is on a 1 year. I'll double check that.
Yeah, but I'll give some more highlights while you're doing that. Darius Leonard played really well. Linebacker for the Colts. had a strip sack, I believe, or not a strip sack. He forced a fumble at some point. I think the Colts did recover it. And the other defensive player I want to give a shout out to is DeForest Buckner. He had 2 sacks on the day. So that Colts defense is good at getting to the quarterback.
I'm a huge fan of DeForest Buckner. Even as a Colts player, I love watching him play. Such an aggressive player at that position. And Phillip Rivers, contract $37 million 1 year. He is a free agent after this playoff run.
Wow, they gave him 37.
They gave him $25 million and a $12 million bonus.
Wow.
Yeah, a pretty fat contract for an older quarterback.
Yeah, for a statue who throws interceptions in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, but that statue got him to the playoffs.
It's true. You know what? He does deserve credit for that. He put him in about a half a foot farther than they would have been with Brissett.
Yeah.
You know, I think this game really comes down to Jaguars had to have a good shot at Lawrence now, or Fields, depending on what happens with this college football playoff thing. But, you know, they lost their head coach now, Doug Marrone. He's now fired. So, you know, there's always time to, you know, hire Bieniemy, or Robert Saleh, or Greg Roman, or Arthur Smith.
There's so many good options for head coach candidates.
One more time, Arthur Smith.
I mean, he's a great opportunity if you want to develop a young quarterback.
Arthur Smith. Yeah, it's. I think it would be a great move for them to pick him up out of this division. I don't think they will, though.
It always seems to be a double win if you can take from a divisional opponent.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Vrabel as defensive coordinator for the Texans, it just feels nice to know he's our head coach, having that experience.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like we have an edge over Houston's defense because of it.
Yeah, and you know, I think this is a good spot if anyone wants to be the next head coach of the Jaguars. You know, they have good offensive pieces like Laviska Shenault, Conley, another wide receiver, and Robinson, their running back, who's like outplayed. What was their Leonard Fournette? He was a beast before.
Yeah, I mean, took Leonard Fournette's job.
Yeah, and got him traded too, which is crazy. But you know, they got some good pieces on the defense as well. Miles Jack. They don't have the same defensive line that they used to, but still, this is a good team that just needs a good leader and a good quarterback. You know.
Yeah.
I think that this team could definitely go far in a season, maybe not playoffs, but with a good coach. You know, like one of the ones I listed.
And I think the problem should have been wide open during the Jaguars' miraculous AFC Championship run just a couple years back. Mm-hmm. To go from a team like that with such success and such just grit, and then turn around and implode, have arguments and fights in your own locker room, coaching positions that just aren't on the same page. It's just a mess from the top down.
Yeah, it's not been long since they faced the Patriots in the AFC Championship, so
yeah,
it's only been about 2 years.
2 or 3 years.
I think that was the same year that the Eagles won the Super Bowl.
And yeah, and now they're 1-15.
Mm-hmm.
Comes at you fast.
It does. You know, you can win your division and immediately be turned around. Blake Bortles made it to the AFC Championship.
Blake Bortles made it to the AFC Championship. Does he have a job now?
I think he's the third string quarterback at the Broncos.
That's a job. Pays more than mine.
It's true. Pays more than mine as well. Let's go next to the Tennessee Tits versus the Houston Texans.
The Tits and the Tex.
The Tits and the Tex. Final score of this game was 41-38. Titans took it home after a beautiful pass to A.J. Brown. I predicted them to win 38-35. That was pretty close.
Pretty close.
Not to pat myself on the back, but pat.
Couple field goals away. That's impressive.
I know. I was like, it was 38-35 at one point, and I was like,
this is it.
I'm gonna do it.
Messiah.
I am the Messiah now. But you had them winning 36-24, so you were very close as well. You weren't far off. Derrick Henry. Go ahead and take the floor, Dallas. You should speak about Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry, 2,000 yards. I want it to be known. I don't like to be the guy that says, I told you so. Mm-hmm. But before preseason week 1, I told many people that can vouch, Derrick Henry has the opportunity for 2,100 yards. And if you look at that 16-game streak, there were so many missed games with 50 yards, 60 yards, that we could have gotten him more involved, I really think. Especially when you take into consideration our first-round pick from this last draft never saw the field.
Wow.
Isaiah Wilson never got a snap.
Yeah, that's the tackle that y'all drafted.
Yeah, that was our first-round tackle. Shout out to him for going out on New Year's and celebrating with a bunch of people against protocol. That was very cool of him to continue to do.
Yeah, and it's only right, But Derrick Henry had 250 yards, 7.4 yards per carry, which is just incredible for one player to do.
God.
And 2 tutties.
Yeah, I mean, he got what he needed and more. The 8th player in NFL history. Mm-hmm. Number 5 on the rushing record for a season. Yeah. Derrick Henry.
And the play I referenced earlier made me have to dub Ryan Tannehill a new name. Ryan Tannehill was one that Dallas created.
He's fast.
Yeah, he's a quick guy. He's sneaky quick. After this big throw to A.J. Brown to steal the game, I'm calling him Ryan Tannecannon.
I love Tannecannon. I'm stealing it. I'm putting it on T-shirts.
Spread it like the gospel.
I mean, with Ryan Tannehill too, because I'm just so proud of my Titans. First time since 2008 we've won this division. It's been too long. First time, I believe, since 2008 we've had a quarterback finish all 16 games starting.
Really?
Between Jake Locker, between Charlie Whitehurst, Marcus Mariota.
I think there was a little Ryan Fitzpatrick.
There was some Ryan Fitzpatrick in there. There was some Zach Mettenberger in there. It was a fucking mess, Jeff.
Who else?
It was terrible.
There was another one.
Kerry Collins.
God.
That wasn't the one you were thinking of, but there's another one. No. I mean, it was just a quarterback nightmare, and I'm not ready to say...
It was a quarterback carousel.
Yeah, quarterback casserole.
It was a quarterback casserole. It was a 3-layer bean dip of quarterbacks.
Taco Bell 5-layer quarterback burrito.
I'm sorry, but Mariota would be the bottom of that.
I don't know if he would.
I'm joking.
I don't know if you... Did you see Charlie Whitehurst?
I did not see any Charlie Whitehurst. I wasn't a big... I don't think I was old enough or a big enough football fan at that time.
You should at least appreciate his hair.
Okay, I might have to look up some Charlie Whitehurst hair highlights.
But I'll get more time to talk about the Titans. I know you're high on him, Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun Watson. Well, real quick, I want to point out the 2 wide receivers for the Titans that everyone knows.
Please do.
A.J. Brown plays hard. He played through an ankle injury this whole game. 151 yards and a touchdown. And Corey Davis had a lot of drops, but he's still able to put about 40 or so yards on the board, and I think he had a tutty or so.
Yeah.
But yeah, Watson, who is my favorite quarterback in the NFL. Maybe Dak Prescott and him might be tied. They're both. I'm real high on both of those boys.
You can say this year. You can say this year, Watson.
I don't know. I've liked him since he was at Clemson.
Yeah.
When he was at Clemson, I was like, this guy's going to be like Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
And then Debo Samuel said that it was the coach of Clemson. He's still the coach of Clemson. And I was like, he just reaffirmed. Just, come on. Bring Watson to the NFL. And if Watson played on the Chiefs right now.
Oh, my God.
I don't know. I'm not going to say they're going to be better, but they wouldn't be worse. That's all I'm going to say. Watson is a baller, though. 28 for 39 yards, 365 yards, a year's worth of yards, 3 touchdowns and an interception. This dude's a baller. I said it 3 times now. He plays well. I don't know if there's much else to say about him. He kept them in this game, a game that they shouldn't have been in. They're going up against a playoff team when they're a 4-11 team.
Yeah.
They didn't deserve to be in that game. They deserve to have to forfeit it just because of how bad they are. Only 2 bright spots are J.J. Watt and Deshaun Watson.
And J.J. Watt, I'm a firm believer the door's open and he's leaving. I don't know if it's Pittsburgh. I know that's a dream location with his brother.
Yeah.
Brothers or just brothers? Are they both there already?
They're both there. Derek Watt and TJ.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, then he's going to Pittsburgh. There's too much.
It'd be a great story.
Well, I did confirm over half of his contract not guaranteed. If they cut him, they do not owe him, I mean, nearly half, if not more than half of his contract. So I don't know how you keep him.
It'd be an interesting move.
Yeah.
I feel like that they should probably trade him for draft capital because they're already missing a first-round pick. I don't think they can get a first round out of JJ, but I think you can get a second out of him now.
I don't know. At his age, maybe a fourth. I don't know if I would.
It could be
Injury prone.
I think there are a lot of teams out there who just need a pass rusher and would probably fork over some dough for him.
Titans certainly do.
That'd be an interesting place to stop, Who knows? But, Mike Vrabel already knows him as well, so
yeah.
Could be something that they hook up together with.
Chemistry off the bat.
Mm-hmm. And David Johnson honored the ghost of O'Brien this game with 84 yards and a touchdown. I think he had like 30 or so yards receiving as well.
He got it kicking. I watched a few of the plays live, and I remember seeing old David Johnson play like it was 3 years ago.
Yeah, he balled out. The last player I want to address real quick is Brandon Cooks, 166 yards with 2 touchdowns. I think this is the 5th year out of the 7 years he's played that he's had over 1,000 yards. I think that's the right stat. I might be wrong on that, so don't quote that, but I think that's the right stat.
Either way, you can't go into that position and fill the shoes they told you to. You're not. No one's DeAndre Hopkins. Not even DeAndre Hopkins every day. But
yeah.
Another 1,000-yard season. They have such fast, good receivers, and I hate it.
Yeah, it sucks to watch. I think that's all I have for this game. Did you have any other thoughts before we go to the Steelers at Browns?
No. The only thing that I want to keep my eye on is what happens with the Texans head coach job. I don't know if Romeo Crennel is going to keep that as the intramural the way the season went. And just so much focus is on the Jaguars that they could sneak in and get a really good guy for Watson and maybe push his talent further.
Yeah.
And that scares me.
And question for you. Would you rather be the Texans head coach or the Jaguars head coach right now?
It's such a give or take because with the Texans you do get I would dare say generational talent at quarterback just already secured at the NFL level. But you don't have a first-round pick.
Sure.
With the Jaguars, you have the number 1 overall pick. But what else do you have?
I mean, they have some other talent though, like the Laviska Shenault and the James Robinsons of the world.
But
Miles Jack.
I feel like the environment in the locker room is so important, and you can't just bring in so much new and expect it to stick.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a rebuild year for the Jaguars, regardless of what happens, but Houston has a real opportunity to turn around, bounce back, get 2 wins on the Jaguars, and if they got a good schedule next year, who knows?
Yeah. I'm definitely interested to see where the AFC South head coaching goes from now on. I'm definitely interested to see who moves, what happens with that. Maybe Arthur Smith moves within division. Hopefully not for Dallas' sake. And my sake. I'm a Titans fan as well.
Yeah, you got an AJ jersey over the break.
I did. I got an AJ jersey for Christmas. I almost wore it on the podcast, but I forgot about it last minute. So no worries though. Let's go next to the Steelers at Browns game. Final score of this game was 24 Browns, 22 Steelers. I predicted the Browns to win 27-17. Dallas had them losing 31-17. So it was good. It was interesting to see Myles Garrett and Mason Rudolph face off again after
same
the
field, yeah.
Yeah, the same field again. But they made amends. They shook hands, I think, either before or after the game. But so, I guess it's cool. I really would have loved to see Myles Garrett just absolutely clobber Mason Rudolph.
The book's closed, but I mean, it could be open any game against them. Tempers flare and just one mistake.
Yeah, and I'm checking something in my notes real quick. What are your takeaways from this game while I do that?
With the Steelers and Browns game, the biggest reason I said Steelers are going to win this one is just the Browns don't have the consistency and the legacy behind them to play to the playoff caliber week 17. They looked rocky. Last week, Mayfield dropped 3 or 4 balls. That's not picks, that's fumbles. And you just can't be so clumsy with the ball. You just can't do that week 16, week 17 when the playoffs aren't even for sure. Browns do sneak into the playoffs though, right? So they've got to turn it around. They've got to play smart football, and they just can't shoot themselves like they've been doing.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. It's cool to see Mason Rudolph back again for another game. I know he's probably really wanting that quarterback job after Ben leaves. 22 for 39, 315 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. I didn't get a chance to watch the interception, but an interception here and there doesn't really bother me too much. But the only other takeaway I had for the Steelers is that they had 85 rushing yards the whole game. All the players that rushed, 85 yards. And on the other side of the field, the Browns had 192 yards rushing. So basically, doubled, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly doubled.
God, I mean, you can't do that. You can't do that and win time of possession, or at least do it cleanly.
The time of possession was actually kind of balanced with, I think, the Browns had about 35 minutes, while the Steelers had about 27. So not balanced, but closer than it should have been with that many rushing yards.
That might lean more into the Steelers' quick pass offense and their blitz scheme on the other side of the ball.
And I think Baker just kind of played game manager this game. He had 196 yards, 1 tutty. So, he didn't play bad, but no interceptions. So that's a good thing, I guess.
Yeah. And I think the most interesting thing about this game, I hope you agree with me, is the rematch right away.
Yeah, there'll be next week, there'll be a rematch right away. So I'm super interested to see what happens with this. It's going to be actually at Steelers this time. So we'll see if I don't think there'll be any terrible towels in the stadium, but there might be a few, and see if they have an impact on this game.
Yeah. I'm going to watch this game for sure. I don't know what I have to do to make sure I sit down and get the whole thing, but I just got to watch this game.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm super excited to see this one. And the only thing that else I have to take away from this game is that the Steelers kept it close with no Big Ben and no TJ Watt. I don't know what that's setting up for. I'm definitely interested to see if that means, the Steelers might have a little bit more of an advantage. They're going to be at home this time too, so we'll just have to kind of see. We'll talk about that in our Wild Card Weekend Fast 5 section.
Yeah.
Just to end off this Fast 5 review, I was 3-2 this week. Dallas was 4-1. So we're both staying positive.
Yeah.
Staying positive. I had faith in my Cowboys for some reason this week. I kind of let my emotions get the best of me when we knew the Eagles were probably going to lose this game.
I had your Cowboys too. I mean, I thought it was in the bag. You were firing on all cylinders.
Yep. Yeah, we thought so. But, bygones be bygones. Let's go to Week 17 recap. First game of the week being the Vikings at Lions. Vikings win this one 37-35. This is the tankathon. I don't think anyone watched this game.
Yeah, I mean, it was a game that didn't matter going into next week, but I do want to praise both teams for putting so many points on the board. I'm not high on either of these teams. The Lions need to get Stafford on a team that can treat him well, and I hate Kirk Cousins. Dalvin Cook is a god, but I mean, when you have that much around you, Kirk, come on.
Yeah.
Still a 70-point game.
Yeah, which is interesting to say the least. Free Stafford, please. Let him go.
Please.
Let's draft a new quarterback. Start over. Get Zach Wilson.
Could you imagine?
What?
If they did that.
Well, if they let him go?
Yeah, well, they just draft another quarterback and say, sorry, man.
Well, they could just rebuild around him like a third time.
Fourth time, fifth time.
Yeah, I think it's either third or fourth now. But it'd be real nice if they just didn't rebuild around him. He got to go to, like, the 49ers.
Oh, wow.
Or the Patriots.
Oh, wow.
Or the Bears.
Oh.
Or I almost said the Chargers, but they have Justin Herbert.
Let's get crazy. Panthers.
The Broncos.
That's way less crazy.
Or is there any other team that I can think of off the top of my head? Maybe the Jets don't want to draft a quarterback. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? Giants.
Giants.
Who knows?
Eagles.
Yeah, there's a lot of teams that could use a quarterback right now.
A lot of quarterbacks need new homes.
Exactly. And I think that's all for this game. Falcons at Buccaneers is the next one. Falcons lost this one 27-44. All I have to say is Tom Brady's awful. He couldn't even hit 400 yards this game.
Get him out of there.
Get him out of town. He actually hit 399 yards for 4 touchdowns.
Was that in the half though? Or was that last week? I know he balled.
That was the week before. That was against the Lions.
So he's just been red hot 2 weeks.
Yeah. So it's interesting to see. One big thing that happened in this game is Mike Evans hyper extended his knee.
Oh, terrible.
But not bad enough to get him out for the season. They're taking him day by day. So Hopefully he'll be back sometime in this playoffs.
One big thing I do need to get off my chest for this game is I was really mean to Tom Brady for a few weeks this year. I didn't think he had it in him. I was wondering who the problem was, Bill Belichick, Tom Brady, or maybe it's just the perfect couple. Tom Brady finishes the year with 4,633 yards at his age.
Yeah, you also got to look at it like he's been able to sit in the pocket like a statue.
Yeah,
and he's had 3 Pro Bowl wide receivers.
I mean, not just they are all 3. I mean, Antonio Brown, Mike Evans, who's
Chris Godwin.
Chris Godwin.
Even the fourth string one, he's a baller too.
Yeah, and your tight ends. I mean, Rob Gronkowski's your backup.
Yeah, Rob Gronkowski, O.J. Howard, who's hurt all season, but who's the last one? Cameron Brate. All starting players in this league, even better than starting players in this league.
Yeah, that offense is a super team that's dragged down by a defense that can't get it together, in my opinion.
And then Ronald Jones in the backfield, LaShawn McCoy in the backfield,
Leonard Fournette
in the backfield. It's like, come on, he's had a lot around him, a good defense on the other side as well. He's had a lot around him to keep him afloat, but he's bald at the same time. So I'll give him props, but you have to look at it from a perspective of bald, but you also had people around you.
I guess I just have to come clean, and I thought maybe he was a bum that wouldn't have a job next year, but it seems like I was wrong, and he could be in Tampa for another year or 2.
Yeah, we appreciate your humility.
You got it sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely, you got to accept what happens. Let's go next to the awful beatdown. I want to call it a raping. The Dolphins at Bills. The Dolphins took this big L, 26-56, and got knocked out of the playoffs.
Yeah. The Bills get anything for it? Do they secure first?
They secured a second seed,
so
which doesn't get them anything besides a different people to play in week 1 of the playoffs.
It's just, why'd you have to do it like that?
I don't know. I think, they were just trying to hurt Tua, and maybe Tua deserves it because he's not a very good quarterback.
It was what I thought would be a defining game for him, knowing going in he had to stay in all 4 quarters. You can't make mistakes that you won't be able to crawl out of yourself, and he didn't do it.
Yeah, it was not a great game. I don't really have much to say about this game besides just wow. Josh Allen has kept himself in the MVP conversation, even if he's 3rd place now. Maybe even 4th place behind Patrick Mahomes, Derrick Henry, and Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers being first, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
I just put those people out of order. But I think he's definitely behind Derrick Henry, who hit 2,000 yards this year. If you're running back and you hit 3,000 yards, you can't be a quarterback and beat that,
Yeah.
Unless you're Aaron Rodgers.
I mean, the Bills just have this division on lockdown. I don't know for how long. I don't know.
I think they have 2 or 3 years with this much success.
The Patriots don't have anything going. The Dolphins don't have anything going. And then the Bills suddenly just every cylinder. Bam, 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 56 points.
Yeah, they would have won 9 in a row if it wasn't for the Hail Mary.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. What could have been?
What could have been. Next, let's go to the Jets at Patriots. Another game from the same division. Patriots won this one 28-14. And Adam Gase is Adam gone.
It's just such a strange love story, Adam Gase is. I mean,
Was it a love story?
I think in a way there was some love there.
I feel like it was the murdering of talent.
Well, for the first 14 weeks, it was an abusive, alcoholic relationship for sure. It was bad.
Yeah, putting cigarettes out on them.
Yeah, burn marks.
Smashing beer bottles, natural light beer bottles on their head.
But suddenly, you win a football game you aren't supposed to.
Yeah.
Another week happens. You do the same thing. What's happening? You play the Patriots. They look bad. You fuck it up. It's 28-14. You're out of a job. But for those 2 weeks, it just seemed high. It seemed like Adam Gase had it figured out.
Yeah, I don't know what he did. It might have just been Sam Darnold being like, don't draft another quarterback.
Yeah. I like my job, whether there's ghosts here or not.
Yeah, he sees ghosts. I'm sure there's plenty of shows on the Travel Channel looking to hire him. But I think that's all I have for takeaways this game. Did you have anything else you wanted to mention?
No, that does it.
Cool. Well, let's go next to the Ravens at Bengals. Another raping. The Ravens had so much to play for. Excuse me. They proved me wrong. I didn't think they were going to make it to the playoffs, but I think they're a seed ahead now of the Browns. Let me double check my. Yep, they're one seed above the Browns. So, which is incredible. They just totally turned the season around. I guess something had to happen. The play calling must have been fixed. The defense must have collected itself. But they turned the season around.
Yeah, become three out of 4 of the AFC North teams to go ahead and make the playoffs. So weird. I can't think of the last time that many people from a division, or could they, with the new teams introduced in the playoffs?
It was super hard beforehand because there's only 2 wild cards. Now there being 3 wild cards. It's much easier for it to happen.
Yeah, it's just fun to see that competitive nature and those teams that just hate each other make it all to the playoffs. The Ravens right now, I think, are a better team than they were this time last year. I would rather be this Ravens team going into the playoffs hungry and fighting than going in like a cakewalk.
Yeah, I think so too. I think they heated up at the right time. Many people had them going 16-0 this season, but either way, it doesn't matter. They made it to the playoffs. They're 11-5, I believe.
Yeah,
on the year.
Your record doesn't matter at this point. Now it's just win, and then Super Bowl.
You win 4 games in a row right now, you win the Super Bowl.
That's all it takes.
Exactly. Let's go next to the Cardinals at Rams. Rams won this one 18-17. I'm going to steal this line from Colin Cowherd. The Cardinals have fallen off a Cliff Kingsbury. It's awful to watch. I know. I already said it once to Dallas, and he's just shaking his head again. But I had to say it on the pod. I'm sorry.
No, I'm glad you did, because it's true. What is going on with these teams?
And not to get crazy or anything, but Mitchell Trubisky is now a playoff quarterback because of the Cardinals.
Oh.
Yeah. Isn't that exciting? It's
No.
going to be so cool to see him in the Super Bowl.
It's not happening. I don't know what I would put on that, but there's a lot, like Mitchell Trubisky tattoos. That's not happening.
Oh, wow. You get a tattoo of Mitchell Trubisky if he
I'm not
makes it to the Super Bowl?
I'm not going on record and saying that just yet.
You can if you want.
I mean, I can.
Think about it.
I'll
get back to you after the last topic.
Okay.
But let's go to Saints at Panthers. Another just beat down this week, 33-7. Only takeaway I had is that the Panthers had 5 interceptions. PJ Walker had 3 of those interceptions. PJ, no.
Yeah. My only note for this one was Carolina's quarterback situation, which is what you've said. What's going to happen? I mean, to go from shaky Cam to basically 2 smaller shaky Cams.
Yeah, it's like shaky Cam underwent like mitosis and split into 2 smaller ones.
Shaky Cam syndrome.
Yeah, it's awful. Maybe, they switch it up and they just switch from maybe Matt Stafford switches from the light blue and the light white to going light white. What the hell? The light blue and white, and then switches over to light blue and black this year.
I said it as a joke because they do like their mobile quarterbacks, but I really like that fit. I mean,
I think it's interesting. I definitely would love to see the Panthers pick up another quarterback in the draft.
Yeah.
But I think this could be a really good fit for them.
I think they need to find some competition for Bridgewater. I think Stafford's great competition for him. I think Stafford wins that job.
Yeah.
I don't know if Bridgewater gets enough heat from a rookie where they're drafting, because they are last somewhere between 8 and 12. They're not a top 10 pick, but they're close.
I believe they are a top 10. The Panthers are. They might be even top 5. Let me check real quick. Go to the Tankathon website.
Yeah, a great website to figure it out. Stays up to date. But I liked the Panthers going into this year. I love Teddy Bridgewater. I wasn't huge on Ron Rivera moving, but I just hate to see this happen to him.
Yeah, and Matt Rule has kept them in the same level that Ron Rivera did, so I'm not upset about it. But the Panthers picked at number 8 this year. Number
8, so yeah, I don't know if you get a quarterback in this draft at that pick that brings in competition.
Potentially a Zach Wilson or a Trey Lance. Those are mid-round, first-round quarterbacks that you could potentially have a shot at.
Yeah.
What's next? Let's go next to the Packers at Bears. The Bears get beat down, but they still make the playoffs. It was 35-16 was the final score.
Aaron Rodgers, 4 touchdowns. Because he's Aaron Rodgers. Just had to put a cherry on top this season.
You know what? I love that he was able to play and secure the first seed for the Packers. He's the MVP, no doubt. I think if you pick anyone else, it's a sham.
Yeah, at this point, I would put an amount of money that I don't even have on Aaron Rodgers' name being the MVP.
Would you get Patrick Mahomes tattooed on you if he wins the MVP instead?
Yeah, genuinely, I'm that confident.
On the record, would you get Mitch Trubisky tattooed on you if he wins the MVP?
Yeah.
Okay.
This year?
Okay. If he wins the Super Bowl.
No, you said MVP.
Oh, you're right. But what if he wins the Super Bowl?
It scares me. Anything can happen. Anything can happen in the playoffs. That's important to remember.
It's true.
The Jaguars made it to an AFC championship.
Any given Sunday. Or Saturday. Whatever day the playoff game is on.
Thursday. Who knows?
Who knows what day it's on. I think that's all we got for that game. Let's go to Chargers at Chiefs. The Chargers took this one home 38-21 against several backups.
Yeah.
Anthony Lynn lost his job even though he won 4 in a row. We already said that. We already also said that Herbert was 39 yards away from reaching the passing yard record for a rookie, which, I don't know if there's any other takeaways besides those. Did you have anything else you wanted to mention?
The only thing I wanted to mention is just how much of this loss is specifically Mahomes not in the game. I know they had other starters missing, but how much of the Kansas City magic is Mahomes magic?
Yeah.
I know we were talking about if Deshaun Watson was there, what kind of team structure would be different. And I don't see a lot changing, but they need that kind of caliber, whether it's a Watson and a Mahomes. And I think if Chad Henne, if something were to happen to Mahomes and Chad Henne was their playoff quarterback, they don't win a playoff game.
I can't disagree. Knock on whatever wood we have here.
Yeah.
Hopefully, what's his name doesn't get hurt. But, I'm totally with you. They do depend on Patrick Mahomes a lot. Patrick Mahomes is very dependent.
Yeah, that's interesting to me because of the talent surrounding him. I don't know if necessarily Tampa Bay runs through Tom Brady. Mm-hmm. And that's the only thing I wanted to take away is what makes the Mahomes magic so special for him. Mm-hmm. Hopefully we figure that out in the playoffs.
Yeah, hopefully the one of these AFC teams too, because I hate to see back-to-back winners, but they look like they could do it. The only team that could overthrow them right now might be the Bills.
The scariest team in football, Chiefs are.
They're pretty scary. Let's go next to the Seahawks at 49ers. Close game for some reason, 26-23. Seahawks taking it home, luckily for Russ. But he's not really cooking that much anymore. Only had 181 yards.
And they got to that 26 by scoring 20 points in the fourth quarter.
Really?
Yeah, 20 of their points. Fourth quarter.
So weird. 49ers are such faux losers. They're not these, they're not they should be a playoff team. If it wasn't for all these injuries, I know George Kittle had an incredible one-handed catch.
Oh my God, George Kittle just out for a while, had to come back and play some football before the season ended.
And I'm glad he got back on the field. He's one of my favorite football players in the game right now.
Yeah, from his draft story to just the presence he has on that team now, I'm glad they let him play too after the injury.
I'm not aware of his draft story.
Just a low draft pick to my knowledge, right? He was a second, third rounder. I mean,
really?
Let me double check.
Yeah.
I know we're checking a lot of stuff this time, but
yeah, go ahead and double check that. I can keep it going. I think the Seahawks, their new benefit now to their play is their defense, and I think the 49ers just don't have a great offense, and it really that was the balance in the game. Keeping the 49ers at bay with their newly found pass rush. I think that was super important to make this game work. I think that's all the takeaways I had for this game. Were you able to find that?
Yeah, George Kittle, a round 5 pick, 146. He actually had 8 tight ends taken in the 2017 draft before him.
That's rough.
Yeah.
That's rough, buddy. But, it ended up right for him in the end. He's either first or second best tight end in the NFL.
Yeah, some of those other guys too, David Njoku, Evan Ingram, O.J. Howard, I can't necessarily blame those guys getting drafted.
Yeah, maybe Evan Ingram. I definitely would take him after George Kittle at this point.
But that's size. Evan Ingram's huge.
Yeah, but he ain't got no hands.
Well,
He's old Stubbs for hands. You know?
He's no George Kittle.
He ain't no George Kittle. Last game of the week is Raiders at Broncos. Final score in this one was 32-31. Tankathon Part 2 is all I have for this one. And both teams need to find a way to rebuild.
Yeah, how, as the Broncos, do you let Las Vegas turn the ball over 4 times? You turn it over 0 times, and you lose the game. I don't know how you win that turnover ratio and lose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't believe they did that. It's just kind of speaks to how bad Pat Shurmur is as an offensive coordinator. Not worth ever taking the coaching job for offense ever again.
And to my knowledge, his job's safe.
Yeah, for now, Vic Fangio is expected to return, even though John Elway is gone. We might see a new GM who wants to shake things up, but who knows? Who knows? I think that's all for our Week 17 recap. It's all the games that happened this week that we didn't talk about in our Fast 5 review.
Yeah.
Let's go next to the first week of the playoffs. We're going to talk a little bit about our playoff picture. I'll go down the list of the seedings for the NFC if you want to do the AFC.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and start off with Packers at the first seed. I predicted the Saints to be the first seed, but they are the second seed this year. Seahawks at number 3. The football team at number 4. They don't really deserve to be at number 4, but they are.
But there they are.
The Washington football team is going to host the playoff game, Dallas.
Yeah, against who?
Against the Buccaneers at number 5.
Against Tom Brady.
Yep. And number 6 will be the Rams. And number 7 is the Bears squeaking it in.
Duh, Bears.
I'm very happy for them. The Cardinals put it all together for them in a nice little package. Little late Christmas gift for them. Very sweet of them.
Yeah. I think the Bears are the biggest surprise here for me.
Yeah.
Even more so than Washington because someone had to win the NFC East.
And even more surprising that Mitchell Trubisky is the starting quarterback to do it.
It's been such a bumpy ride for him for the last 2 years. I know he got benched season before 2020. Benched a couple times in 2020. Now suddenly you're in the playoffs and you have the keys.
I think the funniest part about Mitchell Trubisky's story is that they were traded up one spot to draft him over Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I didn't realize that till recently, and I was like, that's bad.
That's a horror story.
Isn't it? I mean, he's turned it around. They've figured out a way to get him to, do the intermediate passes to short passes and to use his legs a little bit more, actually coach him in the right way that he's supposed to play. Odd that you have to do that in the NFL.
Yeah.
I don't know, Matt Nagy. Maybe you should figure that out sometime. Might help you win games.
Maybe.
I think that's all we have for the NFC. Do you want to go ahead and go up down the AFC rankings?
Yeah, AFC, there's a few surprises, but not at number 1. Kansas City. I mean, they're just the super team. Bills come in at number 2. Love that. First time in a long time.
I think they have the best chance of taking out the Chiefs.
I would say them more so than the 3 seed Steelers. Titans were able to do it before Mahomes took reign in the playoffs and then did it at home once. When he came back from that injury, you were actually at that game. Ryan Tannehill balled out that field goal that blocked for the win. Mm-hmm. Incredible game. I mean, we were able to beat him that time.
Great game. I remember Titans fans doing the
I love it. It's my favorite. It's my favorite thing about a Titans game.
It's so great when we get to copy their chants because we really don't have any.
Ravens squeak in, Browns squeak in, and Colts squeak in at the 5, 6, and 7.
Yeah. Poor Dolphins.
Yeah, I mean, Dolphins get robbed. I mean, maybe not as much as the Giants, but still someone stole from them, and it's a shame.
Yeah, armed robbery.
As far as taking down Kansas City, it goes to the Bills or the Titans, though. Bills more so than Titans, I agree. But
I think the Ravens don't have a terrible shot either.
I just don't know if the Ravens' offense keeps up against a defense better than theirs.
Yeah, right now they do look better than their defense currently, but I'd like to see the Ravens and the Chiefs face off in the playoffs. I think it'd be interesting. I I certainly would love to see the Titans move on, but I think if the Titans don't end up moving on, I think the Chiefs and Ravens would be a cool matchup to watch.
At the very least, whoever wins this Titans-Ravens game, it's very poetic that it's come down to this after last year's playoff disaster for the Ravens.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that one in a minute. Let's start first with our Fast Six this week, Wild Card Weekend. There's 6 games this weekend, so we're going to talk about all 6 rather than just 5.
We couldn't leave one out.
It wouldn't be fair. I think the only one that might be less interesting than the rest might be Saints at Bears, but who knows? Or Bears at Saints, excuse me. But let's start first with the Colts at Bills. Go ahead and what do you think about this game, Dallas?
Colts and Bills, I think, is going to be a great game. Bills Mafia securing a home playoff game for Week 1. They take this one home 37-24. I know Josh Allen isn't going to get any
another
sort
New
of,
York quarterback.
Yeah, tomato. No MVP for him, but to stay in the contention with such competition this year,
Yeah.
I don't see him getting toppled by a Colts team that was lucky to find itself in the playoffs.
Yeah, the Colts are limited at QB. They have a decent defense, but I think that the Bills' defense is pretty comparable in most regards, and the offense is just much better in most regards.
To say on that, a guy that doesn't get enough credit, Stephon Diggs this year.
Yeah.
I mean, he came in and just said, "This is my town. I am the wide receiver here till I retire."
Yeah, he's a top 5 wideout. And, he's always been a dominant playmaker, but now he's really kind of put himself in that conversation, pairing himself up with a better quarterback than Kirk Cousins, that's for sure. I have the Bills also winning this game 31-20.
Oh, wow. Pretty close, 31-20.
Yeah, this is the farthest apart the 2 teams will be for any team that I talk about this week.
Oh, wow. Very not true for me.
Yeah, this is the only game that's a 2-score game. The rest are all 1-score games.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tell me about your next one.
Let's go Browns at Steelers. Steelers are number 1 in defense, but the Browns have a dynamic run game. It could prove to be true again. I know they didn't have TJ Watt last week, but they still had 192 rushing yards. They've had a week to look at the Steelers, see what their game plan might be. I don't know if the Steelers were hiding anything. They might have been hiding stuff, some part of their game plan that they might pull out of the works this week. But the Steelers have no run game, 107 yards in the last 2 games.
Ugh.
So it's not looking good. With the Browns play action after dominating time possession, I think that's the key to winning this game. And I'm going to take Browns 21-20.
Wow, 21-20 Browns.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Does that wrap up your ideas on that game?
I think so. Other thing I want to say is I don't know if Big Ben, he got to sit a week, so I don't know. I'm scared of making this pick, but I also don't want to see the Steelers move on. I think they're a fake good team. I think that Big Ben, what he has around him and on the defense, is what's keeping them afloat.
I mean, it's like I didn't write notes for this one because it is straight from the heart, but it's like you stole my notes. The Browns, I think, are a team that pull together more so in the playoffs than the Steelers. I have it 24-21, a very close game as well. Similar points scored as you, but the Browns seem to have an offense built to combat this pass rush blitz scheme the Steelers have. And hopefully they can review tape and get a scheme that works.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch this one. This one's definitely on my radar this week. I want your opinion next on this next one. Ravens at Titans. This is a rematch of the century almost, but at Titans this time instead of Ravens.
This one I can see getting out of hand, and honestly, I don't feel that confident against a Ravens team that's red hot. Hotter than I think they were when we faced them last year. That said, the Titans, I think, can and will win this one, 45-35. What I see happening different is putting the weight on Tannehill's shoulders early on and convincing them to play competitive pass defense and understand that they're not going to outscore us early.
I think that's a good way to play this game. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if they will. I think their game plan might be to try to dominate the time of possession. which could be smart because their Titans defense is cold
Yeah.
right now, and the Ravens offense is red hot. So they might want to keep them off the field, but I think the pass attack might be a more effective strategy in the end. The Titans offense is explosive, but I'm not sure if they're as red hot as the Ravens are right now. I think they're pretty close, but I don't know if they're red hot like the Ravens are right now.
Yeah.
Just for that, I'm going to give it it's going to be a close game. It doesn't sound as close as I'm going to make it out to be. It's 31-24, Ravens taking this one, unfortunately. I want the Titans to go far in the playoffs. I'm a Tennessee homeboy. I wasn't born here or anything, but I want to see the Titans do well.
I understand. I really do. As a Titans fan, I just couldn't give it to the Ravens.
No, and I couldn't go if my Cowboys were in the playoffs right now and they were playing the Packers or something. I would pick the Cowboys.
Cowboys 100-0.
I'm sorry. I wouldn't be that crazy. I might give them 31-30 or something like that. But I can't. I couldn't not pick my team. So I totally understand your pick as well.
Yeah. If we end up losing this one, I just hope we put up a fight and it shows that we can be a playoff team year in, year out.
Yeah. Let's go to our next one. I also want to hear your take first on this one, Bears at Saints. What do you think about this game?
You're high on the Saints. I know that. I am high on them too. Maybe not as the Super Bowl appearance for the NFC, but I have them winning this one. The Bears will come in, maybe get a touchdown, maybe not, but 13-27, if not 6-27.
Wow. Which one are you going to go with?
13.
13.
I think they get a touchdown early on first quarter and then can't get another.
Yeah. Bears and Saints is an interesting game. When you look at these two teams, how different are they, really? You got two teams that have good defenses with strong run games, David Montgomery and Alvin Kamara.
I love Montgomery.
And also limited QBs right now. Not that Drew Brees is limited talent-wise, but health-wise.
Rib-wise.
Rib-wise, yeah. He's got baby back ribs that are ready to be cooked. So I got this one being close, and I'm going to take the Saints 23-20.
23-20.
Yeah, I think this good defense will show up in the playoffs. I think they were wanting to be here all along, and they were pissed off because they had to watch the quarterback carousel that was the Bears for a while there.
Yeah.
And I think Matt Nagy's going to have a good game plan, but I think Sean Payton's just a better coach in every regard, and I think that's going to be the difference in this game.
I agree that he's a better coach.
Mm-hmm. I don't know that the talent is that different because wide receivers, Mike Thomas, Allen Robinson on each side, running backs are pretty even. Quarterbacks, just with health being a concern for Drew Brees, might be closer than they would have before. I think Drew Brees still has a good edge on Mitchell Trubisky. And defenses, they're quite similar. Good at getting it to the quarterback and good at covering. So, we'll have to see what happens with these two teams, but I think it'll be closer than most people might expect.
Yeah, you've sort of gotten a believer out of me. The Bears might actually have a chance for this one.
It's be interesting to see Mitchell Trubisky be Super Bowl MVP.
What do they say? Any given Sunday.
Any given Sunday or Saturday or whatever game the damn Super Bowl's on.
Monday through Sunday.
It's one of them days. Next game is going to be Rams at Seahawks. I'll go ahead and take this one first. The rematch of Week 16. I think the Rams' offense is bad.
Yeah.
I think that they don't look good. The Seahawks' pass rush has been good. Jamal Adams was a good pickup. 3 sacks in their last matchup. I think they'll probably either hit that much or even double that much. I think that they're ready to play. I think this is the playoffs, and I think that the Seahawks will come out humming. And I think playoff Russell Wilson will be better than regular season Russell Wilson has been the last few weeks.
He always is.
He always is. He plays really well. It might come down to the end of the game when it looks like the Rams might have a chance, but I think that the end game... Oh, excuse me. This is actually a 2-score game as well. And the next one is as well. I don't know what I was saying. I only have... Okay. I don't have any games outside of 3 scores, that is. So I have 2-score games for both of the next 2 games. This one's 14 Rams, 23 Seahawks. I don't see this being a wildly out of control game. It is a divisional rivalry combined with the with the pass rush of the Seahawks being dominant again. So I think it's going to be interesting no matter what.
I don't know if the Rams can come out and match what the Seahawks can do early on, especially Russell Wilson, DK Metcalf, I mean, they can just get down the field fast. They can score like that, almost like the Ravens last year. This one, I have the Rams getting 16 and the Seahawks getting that special Jamal Adams number 33.
Yeah, I think that'd be likely. I don't want to call it that because, I don't know, divisional matchups are just always so weird.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're blowouts, sometimes they're the closest games you've ever seen. So it's hard to say what will happen in this game. But I'm definitely looking forward to it. I'm excited to see Russell Wilson back in the playoffs again.
Yeah.
He definitely deserves to be here, and I want to see what he does on this grand stage.
I honestly want to see how the Rams react to still being in the playoffs with their shaky performance, too. I mean, both teams have things they need to prove.
Yeah. Did you have any other thoughts on this one?
No.
Gotcha. What's our next game then?
Is the next game perhaps our last with the Buccaneers taking on Washington in Washington?
Yeah.
This one, some old school gunslingers, Tom Brady, Alex Smith somehow finding each other in the playoffs. I'm sorry, Alex, but this one's going to get out of hand. I have this one going 48-9.
Wow, that's rough.
I just see Washington getting outplayed, outcoached, and outperformed. I think they're the most surprised team that Washington is in the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't have this one being that out of control for Washington, but it is out of their reach, unfortunately. I think Tom Brady's hot right now. He's had 400 yards in 2 games in a row.
Oh, he certainly is hot.
Washington has struggled last week against the Eagles. There was only a 1-score game, which is not great to see.
Who was quarterback for the Eagles?
A grocery bagger and Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, So it's not great to see that. Carson Wentz wasn't even dressed up last week for the Eagles.
No, that's so disappointing.
Isn't that? That's kind of disrespectful. They had Sudfield dressed up, but not Carson Wentz.
Is it disrespectful, though? Really?
Carson Wentz is a better quarterback than Sudfield.
But if you...
Carson Wentz was almost an MVP.
Carson Wentz stock compared to Sudfield. If you were to let Carson Wentz go out there and take sacks or injure himself, then you have 0 chance of shipping away that contract.
That's true. That's fair. That is a fair point to make from a front office and coaching perspective. That's smart.
I do think it was less about him being a less talented quarterback. I think they know he's more talented, but have to get him out of the building because he's not the starter.
Yeah, but just due to the Washington team struggling against the Eagles, I'm going to have them taking this game 28-14. It's not going to be really close in reach, but it won't. I don't think it'll be totally out of reach. I think Ron Rivera will want to coach really hard and try to get his team in some sort of contention. But I don't think it's close enough for him to be able to take it.
No.
And I think, the biggest thing is that the pass rush will probably get to Brady a little bit. I think Chase Young is hungry. Yeah. He wants to eat Brady for breakfast. But he might have him for lunch instead.
I just don't. The Buccaneers' offensive line did nothing outside of just a mental change to keep Tom Brady healthy, where Jameis Winston was just constantly under pressure. So I don't know if there's a team that can do it, it's Washington because that pass rush is phenomenal, but I don't know if they can do it.
Yeah, and right before we get to Conspiracy Corner, I want to put half my tinfoil hat on and let y'all know that my father, Jeff Wagner, believes that the Washington football team will win this game.
Wow.
I didn't ask him for a score, but he believes that the pass rush is going to be the difference in this game. And I think it'll keep them closer than most people will think. He believes that Washington will win. The pass rush will get to Brady. I will have to preface this by saying my father is a big Brady hater. Does not like TB12 or the brand that he sells. Has much things to question about Tom Brady, as I do. But, he's much more of a hater than I am. But, that's fair. Tom Brady has enough haters already. I'm sure Tom Brady's used to it.
I'm sure he is.
Yeah, but with that, did you have anything else to say about this game before we go to Conspiracy Corner?
No. This one is the one, well, God, I say no, but it's the one that gets most out of hand, but still watch it. I mean...
Yeah. I think this will definitely be an interesting watch. If it's a big game for Brady, it'll be crazy to see him back in the wild card round again. Last year, he threw an interception to seal the game away from himself against the Titans.
Logan Ryan.
This year, if he balls out like Dallas thinks he will, then that could be an interesting story as well. I think either way, the story is going to be interesting for this game. But I think next we're going to go to our conspiracy corner. Would you like to take the helm this time, or?
I'll go ahead and start with one, just because it is about Tom Brady. I think Tom Brady will continue to be a player in the NFL long after Bill is no longer a coach.
Really?
Which is absurd to think of the stress Tom Brady's putting on his body, where Bill's is all mental.
Is he stressed? I don't think he's ever been. I've rarely seen him get sacked.
Well, I mean, I just stress on the body in the sense of rigorous routine, exercise, travel. I know Bill Belichick has to do a lot of that as a coach as well, but I just feel like the mental focus is different when you put the helmet on.
It's true.
And I don't see Tom Brady stopping anytime soon, and it bothers me. I hate it. I love it. I don't know how to feel, honestly.
I'm not happy that he's in the NFC.
I am. Let me
I'm
tell you.
Sure you are.
I am.
He served as a roadblock for the Titans for many years.
God.
For every AFC team.
We had to deal with him and Peyton Manning.
Yeah, that's not fair.
That's not fair.
Yeah, that's not fair. The Cowboys weren't even in discussion ever until like 2015. So I don't really want to. I don't really have any roadblocks in the playoffs because we didn't make it to the playoffs. Our roadblock was Jason Garrett. But,
as he has been for many years.
Yeah. What else did you have on this take, though?
Well, that was it for that take. I just think Brady, as of right now, today, January 4th, 2021, has the bigger chance of staying in the NFL longer.
No, I like that a lot.
I only have one other conspiracy corner. I'm wearing my Titans jersey. I said Derrick Henry gets 2,000 yards before preseason week 1 last year, but I'm saying it before the playoffs start. Derrick Henry's doing it again next year.
Nice.
2,000 yards.
2,000 yards again.
Back to back.
Wow. So he does rushing yard leader 3 years in a row?
3 years in a row.
Okay. I like that take a lot.
And career year, he never gets it again, but he'll do it.
We need to find a way to remember this.
Odd.
I need to. Maybe I'll bookmark a tweet or something on our Twitter or something and figure out a way
We'll find a way.
maybe pin the tweet at the top of our Twitter page.
That's what we'll do.
Dallas Joyce believes that the running back Derrick Henry will go for 2,000 yards again and lead in rushing yards for 3 years in a row.
January 4th, 2021, it is foretold.
Well, if you'll allow me to, real quick, I want to go ahead and piggyback off of that Derrick Henry.
Do. My back is open.
Derrick Henry is a Hall of Famer already.
Derrick Henry is a Hall of Famer already. I love it, Jeff.
How can you tell the story of the last 2 years of the NFL? The whole point of the Hall of Fame, in my opinion, is to tell the story of the NFL. How do you not include Derrick Henry? A man who sat behind a veteran quarterback like DeMarco Murray. I have a helmet signed by DeMarco Murray.
Oh, I'll have to see that before I leave.
Yeah. It's not here. It's at my dad's house.
I'll see it eventually.
Yeah. If we ever make a podcast set, that's definitely going in there. Yes. But, he sat behind DeMarco Murray, came back, became a dominant rusher, learned from Eddie George, I believe. He did. He talked to him.
Yeah.
And figured out a way to put this stuff behind him, whatever it was, his mental block.
Yeah.
And is a baller. Any running back that has 250 yards in a game, incredible. Any running back that hits 2,000 yards, he's the 8th running back in NFL history to do that.
No.
He's better than LaDainian Tomlinson. He might be better than, a lot of running backs in the past, Former Oilers running back, his name is Earl Campbell. Absolute legend. Ran so hard he can't even walk anymore.
No.
But I don't know if he's as good as Derrick Henry these days. Derrick Henry in those days probably would have hurt everyone there.
God, yeah. And
Derrick Henry probably would have gotten rid of everyone else's knees, not his own.
Yeah, for a league that was completely different, almost a 180, where it was a run-first league.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's all I have. I think Derrick Henry will be a Hall of Famer. He definitely deserves it at this point, in my opinion. I think one more year with 2,000 yards will solidify that.
2x2K club.
Yep. I'm definitely with Derrick Henry being Hall of Famer. Let's go next to my last take. Can you think of what it might be, Dallas?
That to do with a number?
Not with a number.
No?
With a player. I'm tripling down that Tua is not the answer in Miami.
Okay. Is that where we're at?
For 3 weeks in a row, I believe now.
No.
I went down. I doubled down. I'm tripling down. Tua is not the answer. He threw 3 interceptions in his biggest game of the year.
No.
I saved it. I was really tempted to say it earlier and talk more trash on him, but I saved it for now. He threw 3 interceptions in his biggest game of the year against the Bills. He had a chance of making the playoffs, but instead, a Bills defense that I believe is in like the top 10, but not the top 5. So it's not the greatest defense ever. He just didn't perform well in that moment. He has to perform. He's got a couple weapons to help him. He's got Gesicki. He's got Myles Gaskin. His Devontae Parker. He's got weapons. So I think one more weapon could help this team a lot. But if Ryan Fitzpatrick was playing this game, he would have won.
I mean, those are strong words. I think there's a better chance. Three picks in what's a defining game for your career is unacceptable.
Yeah.
This is sort of the first time that you don't have a safety net to fall on in Ryan Tannehill or another game that a team could help you get to the playoffs. He just dropped the ball.
And I think Brian Flores screwed up in starting Tua this early. I think the front office might have had a hand in this, possibly pushing Tua to be forward, seeing what they have in talent. And I think they've seen. I think they saw. And they have the 3rd overall pick from the Texans. Time to draft in their quarterback.
Damn.
I think
Fields might be there.
Fields might be there. Zach Wilson might be there.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of good names that could still be there.
You could possibly trade down and still get a guy like Zach Wilson.
It's true. He could be top 3. He could be top 10. It's kind of hard to tell right now with how the draft will turn out.
Yeah, and I'm sure the college playoffs will give us a better idea of a firm top 5.
But my thing with Tua is he's like Drew Brees, where his success was when he's hyper accurate. He's a small guy. He's not hyper athletic. He's got okay legs. He's got a decent arm, similar to Drew Brees, and he was hyper accurate at Alabama. What does Alabama always put out? They're a wide receiver factory.
Yeah.
And
running back factory too.
So, and they try to dominate you with that run game. And how many Alabama quarterbacks have succeeded?
Does AJ McCarron count? Is that success?
No.
Yeah. Then 0 I can think of.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go with none. I can't think of one in recent years. Maybe the 40s or 50s when we had a whole different set of laws back then that probably would have helped white players get to the front of the lines on those teams.
Yeah, maybe a bit, maybe a lot.
Maybe a lot.
Lots changed in 70 years. A lot of good things have changed in 70 years.
And I just don't think that Tua is the answer. They'd need to draft a new quarterback. That's all I have for that take. And I don't think Tua's the answer. I don't think you can repeat what Drew Brees did without the accuracy. And he doesn't have the accuracy right now. He holds the ball too long and he throws it into coverage 3 times this game.
And Jeff, before this started, maybe 3 weeks ago, when all this started, the Tua hesitation, you told me off air, I believe, of another one of your dad's conspiracies. And I'm starting to think that tinfoil doesn't fall far from the tinfoil tree.
Well, I said this one last week on the pod.
Okay, so this one is on pod, that number 1 is cursed. Because Kyler Murray had a bad week again. Tua has a bad week again.
Yeah.
Cam Newton talks about him not even at a starting quarterback job next year.
Yeah, maybe back up for the Cowboys next year. Who knows? We need a backup, so who knows?
Number 1's starting to look a little scary for quarterbacks.
It's looking sketchy, I don't recommend if you're a high school or college quarterback, don't pick number 1 if you ever get to the NFL. Don't do it.
Maybe not.
I don't recommend it. But I think that's all for Conspiracy Corner. Let's go to our final topic of the day, right at 1 hour, 29 minutes. Finish this one out. We're just going to kind of freestyle this one. We don't have any notes for our teams this week. But I think you should go ahead and talk about the Titans. They had a big week, big day securing their playoff spot in their division championship.
Yeah, I know every team has cardiac ball, but the Titans, just for whatever reason, always seem to find a way to have a win in your in situation in week 17. Usually coming down to the Texans, and it usually ends up being a fourth quarter brawl. It shouldn't have gotten this close. It's a little scary that our defense is still having problems stopping non-playoff teams. But offensively, I mean, A.J. Brown, my God. Derrick Henry, my God. Corey Davis, you dropped a few balls. If you hadn't, 1,000 yards for you too. It just, offensively, is such a pristine product, and that's so rare. I don't know what to do with that as a Titans fan.
Yeah, and it all stems from number 22.
That's so strange. It runs through Derrick Henry. And that's not to take away from the guys who are doing their jobs too, because if they weren't threats, Derrick Henry is obviously the largest threat on that offense, without question.
Yeah, absolutely. But we've seen games where the Titans have had to pass it because Derrick Henry wasn't able to get it going early.
Yeah.
And they've succeeded at sometimes too.
Yeah, and I mean, I think too, to rebuttal that point, the Packers are the best at just destroying us and dissecting us. That game has left me really afraid of what the playoffs can do to us, and honestly, I'm just happy we're back. And I think with the right defensive scheme next year, we can be a much better team.
Yeah, and y'all faced, the number 1 seed NFC team in the snow, so
yeah,
I don't think that should give you guys too much hesitation. I didn't pick the Titans this week, but if the Titans win this week, I'd be happily wrong, and I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a close game.
Yeah, I think it'll be a 1-score game, whether it's a touchdown, a field goal, an extra point, whatever the end of the game is. I think it'll be an interesting one.
But last thing I have to say on them is thank you for, after 12 years, getting a playoff game back in Nashville. That feels great.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah, I mean, it's just such an important thing, to do, honestly.
Yeah. This team is legendary in the playoffs, being a wild card team in 2000 and, with the Music City Miracle.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say. Not Minneapolis Miracle. Different team.
Anything can happen on a Sunday.
Any given Sunday. And we'll have to see. I'm so excited to watch this game. Titans are one of my big teams I'm going to root for these playoffs. So I'm going to be wearing my new A.J. Brown jersey watching them.
Flexing hard for that man.
Nice. You cool if I go ahead and speak on my boys real quick?
Yeah, go ahead. Tell us about the Cowboys.
Well, Cowboys fans, I saw Cowboys Twitter. Y'all were mad, but we got exactly what we wanted. Who wanted to see a Cowboys playoff game this year?
I can think of a few players that had a few angry tweets.
Yeah.
Brandon Brooks is pissed.
Yeah. There weren't a lot of people who were happy, but at the same time, look at it this way. We got into the playoffs. We would have gotten steamrolled by Tom Brady. Does anyone want to see that happen? Does anyone want to see Tom Brady and his head case A.J. Brown run around like it's a mental asylum and just absolutely eat us for dinner? No. We have a terrible run defense. We have an okay pass defense. There's no reason why anyone should want to watch that. Andy Dalton starting against Tom Brady. People, come on. Cowboys Twitter, be quiet. We have the 10th overall pick. We have a chance at Patrick Surtain, maybe a good offensive tackle, maybe a good Micah Parsons, a good off-ball linebacker. There's so many good positions where we can fill this right now. We can go to the later rounds to get a defensive tackle. Those aren't as heavily drafted anymore in the NFL. So I think we can go to later rounds to actually get a defensive tackle, which is probably our biggest need in the draft. Free agency, I'm sure there's going to be some names out there on the market. Let's not stress. The Cowboys are in good position. Kellen Moore, who was at risk of being lost, I think he got the Jason Garrett promise. When Jason Garrett was our offensive coordinator at one point, he was behind Wade Phillips, who was the head coach. And he got an extension at one point with the promise that he'd be the head coach if anything goes wrong. And Kellen Moore just got an extension when he had the opportunity he interviewed at Boise State. He had the opportunity to go to his alma mater and head coach. So, and he declined that to stay at the Cowboys because he just got a new contract extension.
No.
So, that's just something interesting. Maybe they gave him the nod. I don't think it'll be this year if they want to turn away from Mike McCarthy. The Wade Phillips coached for either 2 or 4 years. And then he he kicked the coaching can and went over to Jason Garrett for a long time, 10 years.
Yeah.
So, I think Kellen Moore is a much better coordinator than Jason Garrett, and a much, he's easier at leading the team. I think he's going to be a good, like, Sean McVay style coach. I wouldn't put him in the same category yet because we haven't seen him in that level yet, but it's good to see that Kellen Moore is secured here, as long as Boise State doesn't break the bank. But I don't think Boise State could pay more than Jerry Jones.
I don't even know if it's necessarily about the pay. I mean, to have the opportunity to go back to your own team and coach them just seems like a dream. And if he chose to deny that, I don't see anything pulling him away from the Cowboys.
Yeah, and I think the opportunity to head coach at the Cowboys is probably much more.
America's team versus your college team.
Yeah, I mean, I might have to stick with America's team in that regard.
Yeah.
You're you get the commercials and everything else that comes with the team.
Yeah.
And Jerry Jones, his hands don't cramp when he writes checks. One of my favorite quotes of his. Even though he's a bit of a head case, and so is his son, Stephen Jones. I'm still happy that he was able to keep our offensive coordinator there because we need him. Dak will need him next year, and I don't want to see Mike McCarthy calling plays. I would like to see Mike McCarthy continue to improve the team. Maybe we can pull in another defensive coordinator. From what I think will happen, I think Mike Nolan will probably get fired, but I don't know. Who knows?
I would love to see y'all bring in Romeo Crennel as defensive coordinator.
Yeah, I prefer someone with a little bit more
success,
life in them.
Yeah.
I don't know. Romeo Crennel just looks so old, and I'm sure he looks like a great guy.
Yeah.
And I love his story and everything, but at the same time, it's like we already had not to be dark, but we already had a coach die this year, and like, no, I'm just like, let's not do that. We had our weight training coach who passed away tragically.
I do remember that. That's a heavy bit for your team.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen with Romeo Crennel. I'm just thinking, I was joking, obviously. I'm thinking that his perspective might be a little outdated now, but we'll have to see. I think he was a good coach as a defensive coordinator, but I'd love to see like a Dan Quinn. If Mike Zimmer loses his job, there's plenty of good names that could take the defensive coordinating spot. So
those are great defensive names. Mike Zimmer, oh my God.
Yeah, he always has a good defense when he's the coordinator. So, and he hasn't had a good defense this year. So maybe it's just that he's not able to focus as much. So we'll have to see what happens, though.
Take a step back, smaller picture.
Maybe you get a little bit more success and you go coach another team. Who knows? Who knows what could happen this year? But I'm looking forward to the future of the Cowboys. I think with Dak back, we should re-sign him, pay him a lot of money, maybe get a comp pick for Andy Dalton going to another team. He's had a decent season. I think he's been okay.
He'll want money. He'll want some money after this season for sure. More so than a backup role.
Yeah, he'll go somewhere else. Probably play pretty well. Probably get us a comp pick. Maybe a late round comp pick, but who knows? Yeah. But I think that's all I have for this week. I think that wraps up this episode for me. Anything else you wanted to mention?
Lastly, just an impressive week 17, and like you said, Cowboys future's bright, Titans future's bright. I think we have two great franchises, and if you're looking for a team, maybe you're a Jaguars fan, maybe you're a Jets fan, I think our teams are pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you're a lost soul looking for a good team right now, there's a couple of fans right here who can vouch for theirs.
No, and we know what it's like. We've had bad years, so
I think once you get through what the Cowboys or Titans have gone through, Cowboys in 2015 went 4-12. We got through that, Mm-hmm. Titans, they've had up and down years, but 9-7 like their whole existence. So
9-7, I think 5 years in a row until this year.
Nice. It's great to hear that.
So glad we got 10 wins, Jeff. That's all I wanted. 11's like a cherry, but I just needed 10.
Yeah, it was nice to see you guys be more than just over 500.
Thank you.
For sure. But I think that's closing out this episode. Thank you guys so much for listening again. We will be back next week. Hopefully this podcast is up tonight. I'm going to try to do that.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Yeah, we're going to try to pump this one out real quick tonight. My name is Jeff. Thank you so much for listening. I'm with my co-host.
Dallas.
Thank you guys. Have a good one.